Alright, today I'll be demonstrating applications involving simple interest. So to find simple interest, you will use the equation I equals P times R times T, just like this. So the I will stand for the interest itself, the P is the principal amount, or the amount invested or borrowed, R is the rate of interest, so the percent, and T is time. So for the first problem using simple interest, say you were to borrow $4,000 at 15% for 1 year. How much interest would you pay? So let's break that down. We're looking for the interest, so we're looking to find I. So we know the principal is $4,000. That's the amount you're borrowing. So you take that times the rate, which is 15%. And we would put that in decimal form at 0.15. We would take that times the time, which is 1 year. So that is simply 1. So this is the equation we have now. I equals 4,000 times 0.15 times 1. So let's break this down. So now we have 4,000 times 0.15 equals 600. And of course 600 times 1 equals 600. So simple enough, we have I, the interest, equals $600. Alright, to get a little bit more complex here, we'll do the same kind of formula. So we have, but this question we have, if you borrowed the $4,000 for 120 days at the same 15% interest, what would you end up with? Okay, so we're still looking for the interest, I, and we have the same principal, which is $4,000, times the rate, which is the same, at 0.15, or 15%. And for this one, the time. So the last one is simple with 1 year. For calculations with simple interest, with time, we'll consider 30 days in each month and 360 days in each year. So we have this equation at 120 days. So you would take 120 over 160. So that is what we're looking at right now. The interest, the principal, the rate, and the time. 120 over 360. Excuse me. That is what we equal out to a year. So now we'll take this 120 over 360 and we'll reduce it right there, and that comes out to 1/3. So now we have 4,000 times the 15% at 0.15 times 1/3. And this is where we're sitting now, with this fully broken down. So now we take our equation and we times 4,000, and that comes out to that 600. But now we take it times times 1/3. And that will equal 200. Now the interest paid is $200. Now, what if you knew the interest, but you didn't know the principal amount? Let's figure out that equation. So if you're needing the principal amount, for example, a question might say, what would you need to invest if your investment returned 12% and you wanted to make $500 in 180 days? All right, so let's figure out that same equation. But now we know the interest, which is 500, equals the principal, which we are missing, so we will keep that variable p, times the rate, which is 0.12 or 12%, times 180 days. So we take 180 over 360, because that's how many days we are calculating for the year. So if you can see that, now we have 500, the interest, times the principal, or equals the principal, times rate, times time. So now, we will turn this 0.12 percentage, or 12%, into a fraction. So we will have 12 over 100. And we'll take that times the 180 over 360, as you can see here. So we will reduce this 180 over 360 into its simpler form. So we will simply mark out these zeros, and that equals out to 1/2. So now we have 12 over 100 times 1/2. And then you just run across here, so that is 12 over 200. You can see that there. Now we have 500, the interest, equals the variable p, which we're trying to find, times the 12 over 200. As you can see here. Now we can also reduce this 12 over 200, and we will. And that will come out to 3/50. You can see here. So now we have the 500, the interest, equals the principal, which we're trying to find, times 3/50. So now we'll take this 3/50 over to try to leave that variable on its own. We'll times here, we'll cross out. And then once we take the other side onto this 500, we'll flip it. We have 50 thirds there, and we'll take this 500 and have 500 over 1. Now we times these two together, which will leave us 25,000 over 3. So now we have 25,000 over 3 equals our principal. So we'll just divide 25,000 by 3. And that will take us out to $8,333.33 repeated. You can see it, vacant view, right there. So, if we will review this one more time. You're simply doing the same thing, but you are trying to find principal this time. So you're still following the same steps, but the only thing is you're taking your remainder here of the rate times the time and bringing it over to the interest so you can leave that variable on its own. And that is the lesson on simple interest. Thank you.